Okay, guys, so now we're going to continue with our step number 6. If you remember our step number 5, we just added the user login functionalities, both back and front. So the next thing we're going to do is to move to task number 6. Right here we have our task number 6. So in this task, we're going to start implementing the email verification. So that when the users actually registered, they can receive the email verification. So after the verification, they can now log into our system. But if they have not verified their email, they cannot log into our system. So let's swing over to IntelliJ and start implementation of these functionalities. So this was where we stopped, and I'm just going to close down all these. I'm going to close down all these. For that, I'm going to create here. I'm going to go to the registration package and right click on the registration package, and we're going to create a new package here called token. And inside this token, we're going to create a couple of classes, and these classes we're going to be implementing one after the other. So the first class we're going to create here is the verification token. It's a class called verification token. So let's right click here and create a class called verification token. Verification token. And here we're going to create another class. This one is going to be called verification token service. Verification token service. And the next one we're going to create, I'm going to copy this name here because it's going to be similar to this name. So we're going to create an interface for this one here, for this very class, where we can actually define all the signature of the method we're going to be using. So I'm just going to call this verification class token service. The next one we're going to create is the repository. So here I'm going to paste it, and instead of service, we'll change it to repository. Okay. So the last class we're going to create here is a class where we can actually define the, let's just say, verification token verification. Okay, let me just say token expiration time. Token expiration. Token expiration time. So this is what we are going to, these are the classes we're going to be working with. So now the first class we're going to be implementing here is the verification token. So we're going to declare some attribute here because this class is going to act as a table. This class is an entity that we're going to create in our database. It's a table we're going to create in our database. So now we're going to declare some attribute here. So the first one we're going to do is the ID. So we have the ID of the token. And the next one here, we have the token itself. So of type string. The next one here is the expiration time, which is of type date. We're going to get this one here from Java util, and we're going to call this expiration time. And the last one here, we're going to grab the user because this entity, this table is going to have a one-on-one relationship with our user, right? Here. So this one is going to have one-on-one relationship with the user, and we're just going to do the import here. So now the next thing we're going to do here is let's set the mapping here. one-to-one mapping, and we are going to define the joint column, adjoint column, and the name of this column is going to be user ID. User ID. So this is the name of the column where we're going to join with this very entity. So now the next thing we're going to do here is to create generate the constructor, or insert the constructor, and we're going to have the token string and the user here. Okay, and let's have another one. Maybe if we need it later, we can. If we need another constructor later, we can come back to generate it. But for now, we're just going to leave this here like this. So here we're going to make this table an entity in our database. So for that, we're going to have the Lombok annotations, at getter and setter, and at the entity annotation, and these are what we need. So now we're just going to define the primary key at ID, and we're going to specify the generated value. Yeah, and this one here, the strategy is going to be ID, right? So let's just say ID, identity. This one here, identity. So I think this is all we have to do here. We are done with this one here. For now, we're just going to set this one here. Let's initialize the expiration time. This dot expiration time. For now, we're just going to say equals 0. Let's just put this 0. Or let's just leave it none for now. Let's leave it none for now. Okay, so we are going to come back here later. So now we are done with this class. So the next class we're going to implement is the expiration time. So let's actually implement the expiration time so that we can assign it here, right? So let's go here. Token expiration time. So here we're going to say public. We're going to create a public static class. A static class here, where we can actually define the expiration time of the token. Here, get expiration time. Get expiration expiration. Get expiration time. We'll have the calendar. Get instance. So here we have to set. We're going to set the time where the token is generated. Set time in milliseconds. New dates. At get time. So here we are setting. We are trying to get the. We are trying to set the time to the time when that token is generated, when that token is generated and sent. So now we're going to add few minutes to that. So we're going to add a few minutes. And so this one is going to be the expiration time. So we've not expiration. We're going to create a constant for this. expiration time. So now let's create this one here. Yeah, create it here, and so let's set this to, let's just say 10 minutes, which means the token is going to expire after 10 minutes, right? So this is what we have here. So now let's go back. So let's return the date before we go back. So return new date. Calendar dot get time dot get time. Okay, so this is all we need to get here. So let's go back to the token here to actually assign this. So here we have token expiration time dot get expiration time. So this is all we have to do here. So I think we are done with this. So let's close down this. I'm going to close this one for now. And so the next one we're going to implement is we're going to implement the repository here. We're going to implement the repository. And this one actually is just going to extend, there's nothing much to do here. This is just going to extend the JPA repository. Time verification token. And the ID is of type long, right? So this is all we have to do here. Let me zoom out a little bit. What is happening here? Okay, sorry, this one is an interface actually. Okay, so this is all we have to do here for now. So we'll always visit all these classes. If there's anything if we have anything to do here, back here, we can always come here to actually do. So now let's define a couple of classes here that we're going to be using later, right? So we're going to define the signature or the methods signature that we'll be using here. We're going to define them here. So from here, we'll be using them later. So the first one we're going to do, we're going to define a method where we can verify, where we can validate the token when the user click on the link. So we're actually going to validate that token. So validate token, and we're going to get the token string token here. And the next one we're gonna do here is what happened? String. Oh, this is interface. Yeah, it's interface. Yeah, cool. So the next one we're going to do here is a method to actually save verification token for user. So we're going to say save verification token for user. So we're also going to take this one here. We're going to take the object of the user and the token string, right? So we have the token, and I'm going to flip this, the user and the token here. So let's do the import. Okay, and let's terminate this. So we're still going to have another one to actually find by ID, find by token, right? So this method, we're going to use them according to our need later as time goes on. So this one will be optional. Optional verification token. Find by token. And this one we're going to pass the string, the token string here as well. Token here. Oh, sorry, what am I doing? Okay, so I think these are the three methods we need here right now. So if we need other method, we will surely come back here to implement. So now let's go back to our, I'm going to close this down because we've done with it. So now let's come to our token service to actually implement those methods. So here I'm just going to, we're going to implement the I verification token service, this one here, and Alt enter to implement all the method we've defined here. And this one here, let me zoom out a little bit, it's going out of the screen. So this one here is a service class, so we're going to annotate this with the @service annotation. And the next thing we do here, we're going to get a reference to our repository, because we're going to get a reference to our repository so that we can actually get access to our the free CRUD operation to work with this. So now let's do private final verification token repository. So this one I'm going to call it token repository. And now, so okay, this one here we're going to inject this. We're going to insert it through constructor. So we're going to use the Lombok annotation here, and then the next we're going to do here is to just return .find by token .find. This method here is not in existence, so it's a finder method, right? It's a JPA finder method. So we're going to declare it in the repository. So here, let's go and declare it there. What happened? String verification token domain tab interface extend here. Find by. Yeah. This one is, I think something is wrong here. What is the service? This one should be supposed to be optional, right? Find by token. Supposed to be optional here. Yeah, this is optional. So let's go here. Let's check what we did at the other side. What is it? This I verification token, find by token. What is it here? Yeah, find by token supposed to be. Okay, I'm just going to copy this and go here like this. So yeah, because it's an optional method, and it's actually getting the token string, right? So let's go back here, and yeah, it's optional, but what we're going to do right now is we're going to cache it. We're going to, anyways, oh, I'm sorry guys, I'm sorry, this is not where we're supposed to. Yeah, Ctrl C. This is not what we're supposed to do. This is another method we're implementing. So let me remove this from here. This one here, let's just say return none for now. Sorry, I did take notes. This is another method we've not implemented. So let's go here. This is what I was thinking. Sorry. So let's say return repository .find by token. So the token string, we just pass in the token here. Okay, so let's create this in our repository. Okay, see, so everything was okay. It was my bad. So now let's actually go here to save the verification token for user. So for that, we're just going to say, we're going to create the new object of verification token. Verification token equals new verification token, and we're just going to pass in the user and the token here. What happened? Okay, this one is the token and the user, so remove this. Okay, so we're going to actually save it. So now we save token dot save what? Save the verification token. Yeah, save the verification token, and we are done with this. Now the next thing we're going to do here, we're going to implement the method to actually verify the token. Now the token verification is that, we're going to send an email to the user and a link, so the user is going to click on that link. So because this token here actually has an expiration time, right? That the one we've declared here, this one here. So it has this expiration time. So when the user click on the link from their email, we're going to verify if that token has not expired, if the token is still valid. So that's what this method is going to do here. So now let's continue implementing this method to actually verify, to actually validate the token, right? So let's have the optional verification. Equals token repository dot find. So that is where we're using this method we just created in our repository, right? So here we have token. The token here. Okay. Let's change this name. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so now we're going to get the token. We're going to check if the token is actually, if there's a token attached to the link that the user clicked, right? So we're going to say if the token that is empty. So if the token that is empty, so if the token is empty, we're just going to return a string. Return invalid verification token. Then if the token is not empty, that's if there's a token, actually a token, then we're going to get the user out of the token, because remember that the user is there, right? So user equals token dot get the token equals the token dot get user, right? So now after that, we're going to actually validate. We're going to check the time, the expiration time of the token. After getting the user, we're going to check the expiration time of the token. So now we're just going to call the calendar. We're going to get a new instance of this calendar dot get instance. And now we're going to check the token expiration time if it has not expired, right? So we're just going to say if the token dot get, sometimes I hate using optional because of this dot get, extra dot get, dot get expiration time dot get time. Now we actually try to get the time if it has not expired or not. So we're going to minus the time. We're going to subtract the time from the current time of the current time when the user clicked on that link to verify. Get time dot get time. Maybe I will break this down, right? Okay, let's break it down. Now, if this one is lesser or equal 0, I think I need another this thing here. So if this one is equal or lesser than 0, then we're going to, which means the token has expired, right? So if so we're going to subtract, we're going to get the expiration time of 10 minutes and subtract it from the current time. So if that time, if there is no time at all, which means the token has expired, right? So that's what we're going to do. So for that, we're going to return to the user return expired. So we're going to check all this string later to actually send different messages to the user according to the situation, right? So the next thing we're going to do here now, if the token hasn't expired, then we're going to actually pick the user. I think this one here. Anyways, it can be there. So we can actually, we're going to actually pick the user and set it enabled. Now remember that if the user, when a new user is created, by default they're going to be disabled. Which means they cannot log in. So they will be enabled when they are verified, when they click on their email link and verify their registration, which means when they have confirmed their email, so they'll be enabled. So now in this case, when all the necessary check has been done on the token and the token is still valid, then we're going to set the user enabled, right? User.set enabled, sorry, this is set enabled. User.set enabled true. We're going to set it true. Then after that, we're going to save the user back. So for that, we're going to need the user repository to save the user back to the database, right? So private final user repository. Here we call this user repository. And so now we're going to come here to actually save the user. So user repository repo then dot save and save the user, and then return valid string. Return valid. Yeah, cool. So now this is the method that we actually validate the token, right, for us. So now having done this, so this, I think we have implemented the 3 methods for now. So later, if there are any ones, we always come back here to do. So now I'm going to, so now that we have done with this, we are going to go back to our registration controller to start doing to continue with the verification process. You know, last time we gone halfway. Wait, let's check to make sure that we have done with all the classes we created for this token. This, right? Okay, cool. So I'm just going to right click here and close all tabs. Now, let's go back to the user controller, to the registration controller to actually continue with the token, with the image sending process. So now I'm going to uncomment this. You know, last time we did this halfway, right? So let's do the import of this class here. So now here we have a URL that we're going to put here, right? So what we're just going to do right now is we're going to create a utility class where we can actually define the URL of that we're going to attach to the link that we're going to send to the user. So when the user click on that URL, it's going to take it back to our application, right? So for that, we're going to create a new package. I'm going to right click on the main package here and create a new package called utility. Utility here. And now I'm going to right click on this utility package and create a class called let's say URL. I don't know, it's just a URL util. Okay, it's fair enough, right? Okay, cool. So now we're going to have a static method in here that will actually gives us the URL. Okay, let's go. So here we have the public class. It's going to be static string, returning the string of URL, get application URL. And this one here, we're going to have the servlet request, right? HTTP servlet request. And this one I'm going to call request. Let's move it going out of the screen. So now let's move to the next line and actually declare the variable, actually build the app, the URL. App URL equals request request.get application that get request URL. Okay, it's not here. Request dot get request URL. Okay, this one here. Dot to string. Yep. And now we're just going to return it. Return app URL dot replace request dot get servlet path, then replace with the string, URL string. Boom. So this is all we have to do here. So now let's go back to here and actually call this. So now let's say URL util, yeah, the one we just created, dot get application URL, and then we're going to pass in the request. We use the HTTP servlet here, this one here. No, pass this one here. So this now this one here right now is actually is going to get the URL to our application, so that we're going to be sending to the user. So when the user click on the link we send to them, they're going to be directed to our URL to actually verify their email, to complete their registration, so to speak. Now I'm going to close this down here. So now let's look at this. We have published this event, but we need a listener, an event listener, to actually listen to this event, so that listener is the one that is going to send the email, right, to the user when the user has been saved to the database. So for that here, I'm going to go here we're going to create a listener class. So for that, I'm going to go to the events class. Here I've created a listener package here. So inside this package, this folder, I'm going to right click here and create a class called event registration complete event listener, right? So registration complete event listener. Okay, so now what are the things we are going to have in this registration control? So this is where we're actually going to build the email that we're going to send for the user, right? So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to make this one here a component. We're going to make this a component. There, here. So say add component. So Spring can actually find out, discover this. And now for this, we're going to need the token repo, the token service, verification token service, because we're going to generate a token here, right? So here we have private final. It's going to be final because we're going to inject it with constructor injection. So private final verification token service here. So we're going to call it token service. And also we're going to need the Java mail sender private final Java mail sender. This one here, we'll call it mail sender. And by the way, if you can't find this in your, if you can't find this interface, so remember, just go to your POM file here. Remember to add this this dependency here. What is it? So just go to your POM file and add this dependency here, the Spring Boot starter email. So this one is built on top of Java Mail Sender, so it makes it easier for us to send email in Spring Boot, right? So just add this dependency here, and you are going to get this one here. So now let's use annotation to do the constructor injection here. So actually we're going to be injecting all this one here, and now we're going to have another variable here, private, that's another field of type user, right? Let's do the import. Okay, so now the next we're going to do here is this class here is going to implement the application listener, this one here. So it's going to implement the application listener, application listener, this one here, application listener. And what is he going to listen to? He's going to be listening to the registration complete events. This one here is going to be listening to this event. So whenever this publish event, then it's going to actually do the email sending, right? So now there's a method we're going to implement here. So let's just implement the method. This one here on application event. So when event is published, so it's going to receive the event and actually send the event, the message, right? So here we're going to get the what happened here, not annotated parameter overriding. Okay, so now what we're going to do here is to actually, so user, let's say user, we are going to get the user out of the event, right? Because event.get user. So we're getting this user out of the event, and now I'm going to just, so the next thing we're going to do here, we're going to, after getting the user, then we're going to generate so let me just put some guidelines to what we're going to do here. So the first thing here is to get the user. Then the second thing here is to generate a token for the user. Generate a token for the user. Then number three thing we're going to do here, save the token. Save the token for the user. Number four here, build build the verification URL, and the last one here is to actually send the email to the user. So these are the things we're going to be doing here. So now we have gotten the user. So now let's generate a token for the user. So string, we're just going to call this one verification token, because we're going to have the UID, the UID, UID dot random dot to string. And the next one we're going to do here is to actually save the token for the user. So for that, we're going to have, okay, we've already got the token service here. So here we're just going to call the token service dot save verification token for user, and we're going to get the user here. We're going to get user and the token, the V token, verification token, right? So now the next thing we're going to do here is to come here to actually build the link, the verification link, right? So here we're going to have another string, the URL, string URL equals event.get confirmation URL. Then here we're going to add the link, that's the path to the verification link, the path to the email verification. So that one here we're going to create inside the registration controller. Registration slash, we're going to create this link later, verify email, then we're going to append the token param here plus v token, verification token. So this all we need to do. Verify. This is verify. Though we've not created this endpoint, but we're going to create it later, right? So now we have finished this. So after this, now we're actually going to send the email, right? So here we're going to come back here later. So I'm just going to, so for now, to actually to save our time, I've built the HTML to actually send the email. So what I'm just going to do here is to, so what I'm just going to do here is to paste it here, right? And okay, so we are going to come back to this one. We're going to actually send the email from here. So what I'm just going to do here, I'm just going to paste some code here. Oh, sorry. So I'm just going to paste the code here to actually send the email. I've created the email template before. It's a simple one, because using the Spring Starter email actually make it very easier for us to send email. So I'm going to change this to user. So now here, so this is the email message that we're going to actually send. So there's another method here I've created that we actually do the sending of this email. So now this is the private method. I'm going to copy and paste here as well, this one here. And now you can just, let me zoom out a little bit. So you can just pause the video and actually do this. So this one, email verification. So now we're going to just say users verification user verification service. Okay, so this is the method that you actually send the email. So you can just take a look at it. The my message here, this is the email. So this email here should be your email that you can verify. So what is happening here actually is that this application is sending email on your behalf. It's sending email from this your email to any user on your behalf, right? So make sure everything here are the same thing. And remember to have this one here, to have this dependency here in your POM file. Okay. So after that, after you've gotten that, you can reload. Okay, you can reload it so you can reflect. So now let's go back here and actually send the email. So here we just say send email. Where is it? So here we'll actually send the email. Send okay. So now this is the method to actually send the email. So what we're just going to do here is to call this guy here to actually send the email, right? So we just go here and say this is number 5, right? This is number 5. So this one here is just going to be send the email, and we're going to pass in the URL we've created, right? Cool. So here we have, let's do the exception. Let's just cache the exception here. Let's try a cache. Okay. I'm going to have this. Let's pipe it, right? And then let's remove this. So this is all we need here to actually send the email. So now we have done with the listener, of the event listener. So now what we just did here is that when this event publisher publishes this event, then this listener is actually here listening to any event that will be published. So when an event is published, so this guy here is going to fire this email, getting the user and getting the user's email. What is it here? Getting the user's email and actually send the message from this email to this user email. So you can say from and to, right? That is subject, which is the subject we got here, verification email. Then the text, which is the email content, this content we've gotten here. Hi user, this, thank you for registering with us, verify your email, right? So you click on that email and you verify your email. So now we've done with this, so I'm going to just close it down. And so the next we're going to do here is to go back to the registration controller and start and continue implementing the registration, the link, which is the endpoint that we actually do the verification, the process of the verification, right? So that's what we're going to do right now. So let's actually come back to the registration controller and which is the registration controller, and create this endpoint here. And remember the endpoint we created here in the listener, not the listener, the listener here. Sorry, here we created, there's an endpoint, this one here. So this endpoint we created here, so it's what we're going to actually implement here right now. So now we're just going to create a public method, string verify. We're going to call this one verify email, And this one here, we're going to have the token, because that is the token we're going to verify, and that is the token we're going to generate and send to the user. And so when the user click on this link, we're going to check if that token is valid. So that token therefore is a param, because if you see here, here we set this token as a param, right? It's a request param. So now we're going to put it here as a request param. So we're going to say at request param, and that param is the token itself. The token. Here it is here. Cool. Now the next thing we're going to do here is to actually go here to find that token. We're going to find that token by ID, right? So here we're just going to say token. We have token repository here. I think we're going to need, okay, it's not here. So now we're going to need the token repository here. So here we have private final. So here we're going to have the verification token repository, right? Verification token repository, this one here, repository. So we got token repository. Now we're going to come here to say, repository, token repository, this one here, token rep. Wow, I think we don't need to go to repository. We need to, sorry guys, we need to have it as the service. Because we actually have that method in the service, so let's get it from the service. So there's no need of going to the repository when we have it, when we have the service to use, because that is why we have the service. The service should be the one interacting with the repository, right? In some cases, in most cases, only in a few cases we need to interact with the repository directly. So now let's maintain the conversion. So here we're going to have the token service dot find the token. Find the token. So we're going to pass in the token string, right? What do you want here? And so we're going to put this in a variable, the token. Let's say the token. Here, and this one here is going to be an optional, because last time we make it an optional. So let's just find the optional token here, optional verification token here, this one here. So now after getting this email, we're going to check, because when the user click on that link, we're going to check if that user has already been verified. So if the user has been verified, we're going to send a message to the user that this email has been verified, so please log in. But if the user has not been verified, then we're going to continue with the verification process, right? So here, let's just do the check here. If the token .get user before then we're going to check the nullability or the so if the token dot is present, so if there's a token in the link, if there's a token appended in the link, and then we're going to check if that token actually, if the user that is attached to that token has been enabled, right? So for that, we're going to say here, we're going to redirect that user to the registration page, to the login page, right? With a message, with a company message, right? So just now we just say redirect the user to the login page with a message telling the user that you have been verified. You have already been verified. So just log in here. So this param here, we're going to grab it later to actually display a message. Remember, I think we have done this last time when we were setting up our login page. Let's check. Yes, cool, we have done it. So here, last time we set it up already, this verified here. So which means if the controller returned this param, it means the account has been verified already. So we just say to the user that your account has been verified, please log in here. So that is what we implemented here right now, here. So if this token is returned in the login with the login page, so we're going to send that message to the user. But if that is not the case, then we're going to continue with the validation process. So if we're going to get another if here, if the token here, I think I'm going to have another string variable here, string verification. We'll say verification result equals the token. Is it the token? Yeah, the token dot validate. We're going to validate. We're going to make use of the validation. The token dot okay, no, this is token service. This one is token service. So we're just going to say token service dot validate the token, right? Dot validate token. So we're going to pass in the token here. So this one here is the method we created last time. What happened? Require string, provide this optional. What we're going to do here is to the token dot no, let's do this. Okay, let's convert it to string value, right? Now, so here we're going to have where am I? So okay, we're going to check this. This is what we're going to check here. So if this verification, because now this one here is making use of this method here, and this method here has different strings to return, right? So this one here, this one is going to be invalid, so that it will be easier for us to check, right? So here we'll say invalid, and here we'll say expired. So we're going to have 3 conditions to check here. Now let's go back here. So if verification result dot ignore case, now invalid. If that is invalid, if that invalid string is returned, then we're going to redirect to a page called error, right? So we're going to return redirect. We're going to create a page called error page, right? And we're going to get a handle of the param. So we'll say invalid. So we're going to create this page in a moment. Okay. So now, if that token is invalid, it means we're going to create a message later. Then, or we're going to have another if method here. We're going to have another if method here. So if this one is, if in this case, what is it? Let's go back here. Now, if it's invalid, we will say invalid token. But if it returns this here, if this param, if this string is returned, then the token has expired. So here we're going to paste this here, error page, which is expired token. So here we can provide a provision to actually send another verification token for the user, if that is the case. Here I think I'm going to use the if else here. If this one is this, I'll do this. else. No, this one is here. So this one here, we're going to use our else here, as if else. So here we're going to say as if this one is if it returns this expired, that we're going to, yeah. So now if that is not the case, what we're doing here is that now if invalid string is returned from the verification token, it means there is no token, the token is invalid. But if this string expired is returned, it means the token has expired. But if this one is valid, then we're going to enable the user here, right? So we're going to set the user enabled and save the user to the database. So now, so right here, if we've checked for two conditions, right? If this one is invalid, it should go to the error page and tell the user that the token is invalid. And if the token is expired, it should also go to the error page and paste there that and say to the user that the token is expired. Else, now if that is not the case, as if we're going to use another as if here, right? As if verification token here, verification result dot ignore case. Yeah, dot ignore case. Now if this one is valid, if you return a valid, if it returns a valid string like so, if it returns this, then we should redirect to the login page, which is valid, right? Now if this one is valid, then we should set what we're going to do. I'm sorry, a little bit confused. So if this one is valid, then we should return to the login page. So we return to the login page with a message to the user. That's the message we're going to see right on the login page in a moment. So here, return redirect. So we're going to just go to login page, login. With the parameter valid, this one here. So if by default, if all these are not the case, by default I will just return invalid, just return the error page and say invalid, right? Return redirect, redirect, return redirect, and go back to the error page with a message, a parameter, and we say invalid again, return that invalid up there. But I think, okay, I'll just leave it so for now. I'm thinking about something here that there's something we could fix here, but anyways, for now, let's just forget about that. It's just a demo, right? But there's something we can actually do something better here. Now, if we go back here to go through what we've done, is that if the string, just like we're validating this based on what we got here, right? We have 1, 2, 3 conditions here. Now this one is expired, this one is invalid, there is no token, this one is valid, right? So that is what we are returning here. So now let's go to our login page and actually set all these parameters. So now all these params. So here we have the valid. So if the param is valid, it should return this message to the user, right? If the param is verified, we should return this. If it's verified, we should return this message to the user. But if the param is invalid, then we're going to create a page called error, which here, what is it? So we're going to create this page called error, and we're going to set a message in there. So let's right click on the template and create another page called error. Excuse me. Error. Okay, so now just to make everything faster, I'm going to copy something from here. I'm going to copy something from here, from the I'm going to borrow some code here, and just take it and, oh my gosh, what have I done? Okay, just copy and go here. So inside the body, I'm going to paste it in here. And there's one bad thing we'll be doing, right? This bad thing we'll be doing, copying all this, but we don't really need to copy all this, right? So, but now let's just copy and paste here the bootstrap, the CSS, right? So let's just paste it here. Like I said before, we're supposed not to be copying all this, right? We just need to dedicate this to another file. But for now, let's just put it here. So now I'm going to just name this page as error. So now let's go here. Oh, I copied the form. Control, remove this from here. I don't need it. So let's be careful to make sure everything. I think we are element div is not closed. So we have one div here to be closed. Does that make you happy? Okay, it's okay now. So now let's iterate through all this. So if the param is invalid. So let's say invalid. So if the param is invalid, so let's say invalid, we're going to display a message to the user. Damn, come on. So we're going to display an invalid message. Invalid verification. Verification. Invalid verification token. Now, if that message is, what is it? If that message is expired, we have expired there, right? Expired. Then we say this token this verification token has already expired. Has already expired. Is that spell of already? Okay, it's correct. Sorry. Let's go back here. How many invalid? So we have invalid and expired and invalid, right? Okay, so let's go back here. So now what we're doing here is that now we're going to remove this here. We don't need this valid here because we don't go here, and we don't need this one here. So these are the two things we just need here. So if the param is invalid, then we should return this one here. If the param has expired, we should return this one here, right? Okay, cool. So that is all we have to do in the error page. We'll bring this down and okay. Now let's go back to our home controller to actually return to create this controller for this error. So I'm just going to copy this here and paste it down. And let's say error and also error here. And this one here, we're going to go to our Spring security configuration to allow to tell. We're going to declare this this URL, this endpoint to Spring. We're going to tell Spring security to let this guy go for free. So that is why what we will do here, right? It's very important that we come here to declare so that security will be aware that we are allowing this endpoint for free. You don't need to validate this one here. Okay, so I think we're in a good shape to run our application. Okay, so one thing here, we're going to annotate this. This one is get mapping, right? So we'll say add get mapping. And this one here, we're going to give the endpoint as verify email. Make sure it's it rhymes. The name of this one here is the same thing with this one here. This one here, verify email, because we have registration verify email, because that is where when the user click on that, that's where it's going to come. It's going to go to registration here, registration slash verify email. So that is where it's coming, right? Okay, cool. So now we are going to, I think we are finished with our implementation of the email, the verification email sending. So the next thing we're going to do here, we're going to test. I think we're going to test our application. So for that, I'm just going to hit on this play button. And if there are any error, we're going to fix them, right? So now I'm going to hit on this play button to actually run the application to see what we've gotten so far. Okay, so our application has started. So let's go to our data. Let's go to our browser. I'm just going to log into the home page. Okay, cool. So now this is our home page, and let's. Oh, sorry about that. Because we've not gotten Navbar, so I'm just going to navigate to the login form. So this is our login form here, and now we don't have any users right now in our database to log in, right? So our database is empty right now. So let's go here. Let's go back to the browser, and we're going to register a new user. Okay, so this is our registration form here. So now we're going to have a new registration. So we're just going to say done Karen, this guy here, and the email is this, and the password is 123456. There's the password. So we're just going to hit on register, and now we see that okay, cool. So we got a successful message that says registration successful. Please check your email to complete your registration. So now let's swing over to our database and refresh. So let's refresh. So here we got a new user with password well encrypted, and the user row, let's see, we have 1. Let's go to the row. Now the row is of type user. Now let's go to the verification token table that we just created. So here we see that we've gotten a new verification token generated for user with ID number 1, and this is the expiration time of the token, right? So now if we go back to our browser here right now, let's go back to our user. We see that the user is not enabled, right? So let's go back to our browser and let's go to login. So now let's try to log in with this user we've just created, 123456. So let's log in. So here we got an error, invalid username or password. So that is exactly a message we said last time. Here, where's the login page? So we said if there is error, it should display this message, right? So that is the message that is being displayed up there right now. So that is because we've not enabled the account. So now let's actually go to this guy email and complete our registration. Here, so here we see that we receive one verification email, a new email right now. Here we can see verification email. So let's actually click on the link. Something is wrong here. So let me pause the video and find out what is wrong. Oh, okay, there are a couple of errors I fix here. So the reason why we are not getting, we're not being able to redirect to the page was that because we're having an error. It was complaining that the parameter token was not present, right? So I discovered that I omitted this assignment sign here, so it was not there. So this token is joining together with the string. So that was the reason why it was complaining. So what I just did here is to include this assignment operator here, right? So that we can actually assign the token in here. And the other thing I did was that I tried to find out what was happening here, because we couldn't get, it was returning invalid, right? So even though the token has not expired, but it's still returning invalid. Even though the token is present, it's returning invalid. So I find out that, I was using this guy here, but I find out that when I use this one here, it started working. So you just change a code. Instead of using this one we just gotten from the database, because this one here also we gotten is the same thing with this, because that is what we are finding, right? So I advise you to just use this one directly from here, use it here, right? So that actually solves the problem. And another thing I did was that I changed the if-else statement. I changed the switch statement so that it would be a little bit neater, right? Because the if-else statement was too rough, the code was too it's not very clear to me. So I decided to change it to the switch to switch the variable so we can actually get what we want. And because I'm switching to lowercase here, so I changed this one. I have to go here to return upper cases here, right? So then we can switch all this one to lowercase in our controller. So these are some of the changes I made. So now we're going to run our application to actually test out a couple of things here, right? Okay, let's go. So now the application is running, but I'm going to rerun it so we can test it together, right? Okay, so let's go. All right, so now we see that our application has started running again. So now let's just quickly go to before we go to the browser, let's go to our database and refresh. So here we got nothing. We refresh and we lost everything here. The reason why we are doing this, at least because now we're just it's a testing phase, right? It's still in development phase. So the DDL was set to recreate. That was why we are losing everything. That's why we have to lose. When we run our application, we have to lose all this. Because of this, we have to recreate the table. So we have to lose every data we have on the table, right? Just for I think you must have known about all this for now, right? But if you have not known this, just go to read more about the DDL auto of the Hibernate stuff. So now I'm going to close this, and now we're going to go back to our browser. So let's actually retest our application. So now we're going to our home page. This one is going to lead us to our home page, and here let's check if our application is running. Okay, it's running. So why is it taking so long to display? What happened? Okay. All right. So whatever. So now let's try to go to our login page, because we have not gotten a navbar, so we will navigate through here, right? Though I can just go straight from here to go to our registration page, but I just want to go through here. So let's go to the registration page, and here is our registration page. Let's create a new user called Dan Karen, and let's use the email.karen, and the password is 123456. So let's register this guy. Okay, here we got the success message, which means this guy has been registered successfully and the email has been sent to us. So let's refresh our database to see this guy in our database. So this guy is here, and the verification token has been sent to our email, right? Here the user, the row, and the row, right? And one other thing I did here was that I set the where is it? This our token here, our token timer. Where is it? Here, this expiration time of the token. I set it to 1 minute because I want us to test what happened when the token got expired, right? So now I set this to 1 minute. So I want us to test when the token got expired. So I want us to see what will happen. So now let's go back to our browser to check our email. So now email has been sent to us, but now I just want to wait for this email to expire. After 1 minute, the email is going to expire, right? So now this 1 minute, I think is expired already. So let's actually test and see what happened. So now we see that we got this message that says this verification has already expired, which is the message we set here. Where is it? If we go back to our controller, this here we have expired, right? If the token has expired, where's the controller here? Here. So if this token has expired, it's going to return this expired here, right? And so here we say here in our controller that if this verification results return expired, then we should go to error page and display this. So if we go back to the error page, where is the error page? This error page here. So we also say here that if this token has expired, if the param is expired, we should return this message, this verification has expired. But I'm going to add a token here, this verification link. Maybe let me just say this verification link. This verification link has already expired. Now, if we go to our browser here, we're going to see that you see here that we actually return, there's a param called expired here. So that is why this one is showing here. So now let's go back to our browser and our home page and actually re-register. So let's re-register. So here I'm just going to say registration form. So we go here straight and we get back to our registration form. So now we're going to create another email, but meanwhile, we're going to create another user here, and this time around I'm going to use another email. I'm going to create user with this guy here, so we can use a new email because we cannot use the email that is already in our database. Here, if we look here, we have an email, this email already in existence in our database, so we cannot use it anymore because this one is a natural ID, which means two users cannot have the same email, right? Because of that, I'm going to create this guy as a user. So I'm just going to copy the email, and here I got a lot of email here just for testing purpose. So now I'm going to go back to the registration form and paste this guy here. So I'm going to change this guy name to Clifford, this, and this one is going to be this guy here, Delali. So here we have 1 2 3 4 5 6. So let's register this guy. So this time around we're going to verify this email, right? Okay, this one has registered successfully. So let's go back. Let's hurry up before this token got expired after 1 minute. So let's go back to our browser and actually verify this token. Here we got the token that the verification email sent. So now let's verify this email. Okay, cool. So now we have gotten this email verified successfully. So now let's go back to our browser. Here was 0, so let's refresh. And we see that our user has been enabled, right? So now we can actually log in with this guy's account. So now let's just log in. I'm going to paste this email here, and the password is 1 2 3 4 5 6. So here, let's log in, and here we go. So now we are able to log into our home page. So now I think this one brings us to the end of task number 6. Was it number 6? I think it was number 6, right? Yeah. So this one brings us to task number 6, which says we should implement verification email sending functionality. So now let's move on to task number 7. All right, so we have finished our task number 6, which says we should add email verification functionality. So now we're going to task number 7. So task number 7 says we should add a home page to our application. That's a home page with menu, which is Navbar, right? We know we've gotten a home page before, so what we're just going to do here is to add a Navbar to our home page. So now let's go back to our application and go to our home page. So what we're just going to do here is to go to Bootstrap. Here I've already opened the Bootstrap, so just go to Get Bootstrap just here. You can just type Get Bootstrap and you go here, 5.0. So I'm going to scroll down to this menu here. I like this menu, so I'm just going to copy this Navbar here, Navbar here, just going to copy everything and copy, or we can just use this control to copy, right? Just copy like this. So now going back here, I'm going to, so we're going to paste this here in our home page, right? Okay, so now let's start modifying this very let's modify this navbar. So to start with, I don't want this drop down, so I'm just going to remove this drop down, remove this, and also this disable, I don't want it, remove it. And we don't need a search form, we don't need any search form here, so we're going to remove it as well. So now we are left with one link and two links, right? Homepage and this link. So this one here, I'm just going to we're going to add more links. So I'm going to duplicate this a couple of times. So we'll say 1 here, and 2 and 3. So this one here, we're going to say users. That's the current users in our database. And this one here, I'm going to say register. So this one here, we're going to say login. And this one, we're going to say logout, right? Log out. So this is what we got. And now we're going to set the link with Thymeleaf. So here, look at this here. So I have included this Thymeleaf namespace here. Okay. Now for you to get this one here, let me show you what I did in our POM file. You have to add a Thymeleaf security with Spring Boot, so you can we can grab the security content of Thymeleaf. So here we have this dependency here. So make sure you add this Thymeleaf extras Spring 6 in your POM file. Okay. So after you added this, then you refresh. Okay. This one here. Don't forget this one here. So make sure you add this here, extra Thymeleaf extra security, so you can make use of the security content you want to make use of right now in the home page. So after that, you add this namespace. Add this namespace to your home page here. Anywhere you want to use security, you have to add this namespace at the top of the above the head of your page, right inside the HTML tag. So now we are going to set this user. We're going to set that is the link to the user. We're going to actually set it here. So now this one, we're just going to come here and say th I forget what I want to do. Okay, so we're going to add the link of the user, right? So we're going to say th href. So this one is href, Thymeleaf href. Now we're going to say, we're going to specify the path to actually get all the users. So this one is users, right? Okay. So next we're going to go to registration. So registration, we have the href, and go to registration slash register, right? I think it's registration slash register. So that is the link, that is the path to our link. I think this one is form. It's going to return the form slash registration. Remember last time it was registration form. Is it correct? Let's cross check. Let's go to our registration controller, this one here. Here. Okay, here, registration form. This one here, that's what we're getting. So we're going to registration slash registration form here. So we are right? This one is correct. Then the login here, registration form, right? So the login here, we're just going to specify the login path. So href. So we're going to say login. This one's just going to say login. right? Okay, and this one also going to say logout, the href, logout. So here we have logout. Here we have logout. Okay, so this is what we've gotten here. I think this is all we need for now. So we have the user, this one to get all users, this one is to register user, this one is to log in, this one is to log out. Now we're going to specify the home page. Href. Okay, this one is going straight to the home page, so we're just going to do it like this. So this one is going to the home page, right? Now we're going to change this one here to our demo app. Our demo security app. We're going to name it like that. So having done this, now you can see that. So you can see that this one here has elected, which is the Thymeleaf tag, but this one has not elected because we're not start using it. So now let's actually start using this one here. So we want this menu here. We want this registration to only be shown. This registration and login should be shown to a user that has not logged in. But when they have logged in, this one should be hidden, and only this one should be shown, right? So this one should be shown to users that have logged in. But these two here should be shown to users that have not logged in, and this one should be hidden. If the user has not logged in, this one should be hidden, and these two should be shown. But if the user has logged in, these two should be hidden, this one should be shown. So how do we get that? So we're going to get that with this Thymeleaf sec tag, right? So here we're going to go here. We're going to go here and say sec with security tag, right? Sec authorized. And this one we're going to say is authenticated. Is not authenticated. So we're going to set not here. So this one is not authenticated, right? So to fasten the whole thing, I'm just going to copy this, and this one also is having the same is filling the same criteria with this, right? So this one here should be shown to a user that is not logged in, that is not authenticated. This one as well. But this one here should be shown to a user that is logged in, right? So this one we're just going to remove the not here. Okay, so this is all we need to do here to hide and show the control according to user's requirement, according to user situation, user status, so to speak, right? And now what we're going to do here is to okay, you see that this one has selected, right? Cool. And there's one thing I want to show you. Because of the style of Navbar I want to use, you should add this one here. Maybe just go to Bootstrap, go to here, Bootstrap, this one here, and copy these two here. Get Bootstrap, copy these two here, both the JavaScript and the CSS. Copy these two and paste it in here so that it can activate our Navbar, right? Okay, now let's test our home page. So I'm just going to run this application again so we can see how our home page looks like right now. Okay, so now we see that our application has started running. So let's go to our browser to view our new Outlook, to see our menu. So I'm going to close down Bootstrap, and let's go to our home page. Okay, cool. This is our home page. Okay, so now we see that a user has not logged in. Before then, I'm going to make it dark. Let's make it dark here. D-A-R-K, dark. And I'm going to just make this one dark as well. D-A-R-K. And quickly, let's run it again. So our application has started running. So let's go back to the home page and refresh. So let's refresh. Okay, is dark already? This one is okay? So here we see that these two here only showed because we have not logged in. So let's try to log in. Log in, this guy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, really? Oh, sorry, we don't have anything in our database. Oh, nothing here. So now let's create a user. Let's create a new user. Now let's go to register and let's create .Karen and let's have the email and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm just going to go here and we're going to, okay, this one is taking long. Okay, cool. So we got the success message, which means the user has successfully been created. And we're going to be very fast with this because this token is going to expire after 1 minute. So we see that we've gotten a token here generated for the user. And now, before any other thing, let's verify the email before the token got expired. I just set it for 1 minute so that we can actually test what happens to, oh, this is not what we want. So that we can actually test what happens when the token got expired. But now, I think it's going against me. I'm going to change this to a normal time if it expires before it opens now. This email is taking time to open, I don't know why. Okay, here we got it, so let's verify our email before it got expired. Okay, cool, valid. You see valid param is shown here, so which means email verified successfully. Please log in here. So now let's log in with .Karen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's go. Boom. So here we are able to log into our application. This is our home page, right? So now let's go here and you see that okay, there's something here. This page is supposed to be here. So this one is suspicious. It's telling a user that something is here. There's security prone. So now this one, the logout has shown, right? So let's view all our users. So here we have one user in the database. So let's add another user. So here this time we're going to add Nana Rita. We're going to add Simpson, Rita Simpson, right? And the email is going to be Nana Rita 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now let's go. So here we have got the success message, right? This one is taking a long time to load. So we've gotten the success message. So let's go back to our users. I'm just going to go here to our users. So our users. So now we've gotten 2 new users. So you can just, if you like, you can just duplicate you can tidy up this one here, what's it called, the navbar. So you can just tidy up the navbar, like you can create a dedicated page for the navbar, and in fragments, so to speak, you create a fragment here for the navbar, then you put this code into a fragment, then you just include the code to any page you want. If you want the navbar to show in any page you want the navbar to show, you just include the page, the fragment in there. But for this purpose, for this demo purpose, we're not going to do that. I'm just going to leave the navbar to show on the home page only, right? So you can create a fragment to include the navbar to every other pages you want the navbar to show, right? Okay. So now we are done with our assignment number 7, right? We have done with task number 7. So here we have included the navbar to the home page, and actually we can actually log in and log out. So now let's log out from our application. Now the application is logged out. So now let's check again. So you see the logout has disappeared, and the home page, the registration and login has shown already. So this brings us to the end of our task number 7. So let's move to the next task. All right. So going back to task number 7, we were asked to add home page and a navbar, which is menu, to our application, of which we have done already. So let's move to task number 8. So task number 8 says we should implement the logout functionality. And if you see, if you take note, we've already implemented that functionality, right? Like what we did last time. So I'm just going to run this application again and see how it works. And so the application has started running. So let's quickly go back to our application to see how it works. So now we're just going to refresh. So this is our home page. You can just design the home page as you want it. Now here we have the login and the registration, right? So now we got a user in the database, or it has gone. Oh, it's gone because of our configuration. The user is gone. So now quickly we're just going to create a new user. So let's register a user. So this time around we're going to create the same user and Karen, and we're going to use the same email, right? So 1 2 3 4 5 6. So let's register the user. So the reason why we are doing this is because of the testing phase. So that's why we always create our table again. Each time we run our application, table will be created. So now let's verify our email, because now we've gotten a user in our database. So let's verify our email. What's wrong with my mouse? Okay, so now we've gotten a new email, verification email here. So let's verify the email, and this is valid, which invalid. What happened? Oh, this one has expired already. You see here, this email, this token does not exist. So let's refresh again. Okay, we have another one here. Okay, this is the new one that was sent less than a minute ago. So let's verify this. Okay, cool. So this one has been verified. So let's go login. 1 2 3 4 5 6. So let's log in. So now we have logged into our application. So now we can view all users, right? So let's view all users. Here we have one user in our database. So now let's go back to the home page and log out. So let's log out. So now we have logged out. Here we've logged out. So let's view the users. So now we cannot view the users anymore. So when we logged out, the users cannot be viewed except we log in. So which means our log out functionality has been done, which means our task number 8 is done already, right? So now let's move to the last task, which is task number 9. Maybe the last task, maybe let's just say the next task. I don't know if that's the last or not. Okay. All right, so we can see that we have finished the number 8 task, which implementing the logout functionality. So right now we're going to move straight to the task number 9. And task number 9 says we should add reset forgot password functionality, so that when the user forgot the password, they can actually request for a password reset. So quickly, we are going to move back to IntelliJ and start implementing this functionality. So what I just want to do here is to go here, the registration package. I'm just going to click on the registration package and create a new package called password. So I'm going to call this one password. So password, and this in this folder we're going to create a couple of classes that we're going to be working with, right? So the first one we're going to create here is I'm going to call this one here password reset token. This one here. So we call this password reset token. And I'm just going to copy this name because I'm going to use it again in another class. So now we're just going to hit enter. And the next one we're going to create here, what is it? Okay, here. We're going to create another class called password reset token service. So I'm going to add service to this. Service. Yeah. And another one I'm going to create, I'm going to create another interface for this that we're just going to service. So this one is going to be interface, where we're going to declare all the signature of the method we're going to use in there, right? So the last one we're going to create here is the password reset repository. I'm just going to paste this and add repository. Well, sorry. Yeah, repository here. Okay. So what we're just going to do straight ahead, we're going to start from implementing the repository. So this one here, we're going to implement, or we're going to extend. We're going to extend the JPA repository as usual. JPA repository. This one here is going to be of type, what's the name? This guy here, I copied last time, right? Yeah, cool, correct. This one here is going to be of type long. You know, we've not gotten anything there, so I'm just going to put it here, and we're going to go back to make the declaration, right? Okay, so okay, this one is going to be interface here. So this is going to be interface, and now we're going to go back here to actually start implementing this very class. So what we're just going to do here, what is it? This one here. So we're going to come back here, and now we're going to declare some a few attributes here for this password reset. So password reset token, right? So the token is going to get ID and the token itself and the expiration time, and it's going to have one-on-one relationship with the user. So let's go. This one is going to be the name of the token itself, which is a string. And so we're going to have the expiration time. It's going to be of type date from the Java util. We're going to call this expiration time. Good. And the last one we're going to create here is the user, because we're going to link the user to this. So we're going to declare the user here, because the user is going to have a relationship with this one-on-one relationship. So we'll have user, right? And now let's do the import here. Make sure this user is coming from our own, because we have a couple of more here. So let's take this from our own user. Straight away, I'm going to annotate this here with at one-to-one annotation. One-to-one, yeah, this one here. And we're going to define the attribute that is going to be joined, right? So we'll have adjoint column. And this one here, we're going to have the name as the user ID. The user ID. So, oh my gosh, this one is in double quotes. Okay, so this is all we need here. So the next thing we're going to do here is to we're going to generate a constructor for this insert constructor, and here I'm just going to pick all the three here and hit. Oh my gosh, I'm going to do this again. I made a mistake. So insert. So I'm going to pick all the three here and click OK. I mistakenly clicked select none, so now I'm going to click OK. Cool, so now we got it. But now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to remove this from here. Right, remove it from here. So we just have the token and the user. So for that, we're going to come back to this later. So for now, I'm going to put none to make it happy, right? And I'm going to push this down, just take it downward. So what we're going to do next here, this one, because this one is going to be a JPA entity, is going to represent a table in our database. So I'm going to paste this here, right? So this one, Lombok annotation as usual. So for that, we're going to define the identity. The ID. We're going to define the primary key and how the primary key is going to be generated. So we just put this as usual. No, we have done this several times, so it's not something new, right? So this all we need to actually generate the user. To actually create a new reset token for the user that requests for password reset. Okay, so now we're going to do something here. Remember last time I think we created a function somewhere to actually validate. Okay, this one here. So now we're going to make use of the expiration time we created last time, right? We set this one to 1 just for testing purpose. So you can set it to the normal time you want. So now we're going to come back here to actually call this guy. What's the name? Token time, token expiration time. So here we're going to say token expiration time dot get expiration time. So this is all we're going to do here. Let me zoom out a little bit so we can see it clearly. I'm just going to close this a little bit. So this is all we need to do here. This one here we're taking it. Remember, this is what we defined last time from that class. What is it? I think I'm going to close this one here. What is it? Let me close down the repository for now. So this is the one we're using. We defined this some time ago, right? So I'm going to close it back. So now I think we are done with this class here. We're done with this. So I'm just going to close this down. I'm just going to close this. So the next thing we're going to do here, we're going to start implementing the endpoints to actually carry out the password reset process, right? So for that, the first thing we're going to create here, we're going to create an endpoint that will actually return the form when the user hit on that forgot password link that we're going to define later. Then it's going to take the user here to actually display the form that user is going to use. So for that, we're going to create a public method that's going to return string. It's going to return string, right? String. And this one here, we're going to say forgot password. We're going to say forgot password. Forgot password. And so what we're just going to do here is to return oh my gosh. So here we're just going to return the template, which is the form. So we're going to return the name of the form, which is we're going to create this form in a moment, right? So this one we'll call forgot password. Let me just say let's add form, forgot password form, right here. And this one is going to be get mapping. So we have get mapping, and this one here we're just going to say forgot password. Forgot password. So this one we're going to say forgot password form. This one actually here we're going to say forgot password form. But what we're going to do right now is to excuse me. Okay, right now the first endpoint we're going to declare is the first endpoint we're going to create is the endpoint that will actually return the form for users to enter their email when they forget their password, right? So now let's just create a method here, public string. So this one we're going to call this forgot password form. This is the form, right? Forgot password form. Is that correct? It's correct. So here what we're just going to do here is to return the form. So this one we're going to call this forgot forgot password form. So it's just going to return this template here. So we're going to not this view here, this form, right? So we're going to create this later. So what we're just going to do here is to annotate this as a get mapping, and we're going to define this endpoint as forgot password. Forgot. Oh my gosh. Forgot. No, I'm going to make it hyphen. Forgot password request. I'm going to call this one request. Yeah, cool. So this is the first endpoint we're going to declare here. So for that, what we're just going to do here is to, now when the user click on this here, yeah, so now before we go further, we're just going to create this template here. So let's have this as forgot password. So I'm just going to right click on the template directory and create a new HTML file. So this one here, we're just going to call it forgot password, which is exactly the same name with this one here, right? Exactly the same name with what we are returning. So we're just going to call it forgot password form, right? So I think it's the same name. So it's going to be the same name with this. So now if the name is correct, so we see that this line will go away. Okay, cool. So the same name here, forgot password. So it's the same name. So now I'm just going to go back here to forgot password. And to save our time, I'm just going to paste the form here I've already created. So this one here is the form, and just like see, password reset request is the title, and this one is the bootstrap we'll be using, right? So it's here, and this one here is the actual form. So here we have one input control here, one input field here with the name, ID user, name user. This one is very important that you should set name as email, because we're going to request for this parameter later in our controller. So it's very important. Make sure you set a name attribute here, a name to email, right? And here we have the label which says enter your email, right? So when the user enters the email here and click on this button, this one here is going to go to another API endpoint that we're going to create now. So now the next thing we're going to do here is to actually go and create this endpoint. So this endpoint is what is going to is the one that is going to actually go through the process of finding the user, finding the email, finding the user with this email here, and actually getting a lot of things done to reset the password. So now let's quickly go back to the controller and actually define that endpoint, so that when the user click on that button, forget password, is going to be taken to that endpoint. So now let's go here and create this method. So now I'm just going to say public, and this one also is going to return a string, public string, and this one is going to be reset password request. We'll call this one reset password request, because the kind of request, when the user requested, when they enter their email and click on that form, this form is going to show. So when they enter their email here and click on this, it means they are requesting to reset their password. So from here, we're going to carry out a couple of things here, like validating, like taking that email to find the user with the email. If the user is found, then we're going to proceed by generating a new token for that user and saving that token to the database, validating the token, and a lot of things like that. So that is what we're going to be doing with this method. So now let's continue implementing this method. This method here we're going to take the HTTP request here, HTTP request, the servlet request. We're going to call this one as request, and here we're going to take the mother here, and we'll just call this as mother. So the first thing we're going to do here is to request. We're going to request this one. Where's the form here? So we're going to ask for this email control here. We're going to ask this here because this one is where the email is, right? So we're going to request this control. So now we're just going to say string email equals request dot get parameter, and this one is going to be the email that the user entered, email. So this one is going to be the email the user had entered in this form, right? So now we're just going to go quickly. I think I'm getting too slow. Let's go faster. So here we have the user. This one is coming from our user. And we're going to find the user by the email, right? So let's say user service. I think we have the user service here already. Yeah. Dot find by email, and we're going to pass in this email we just gotten from the field, right? So now, if that user is not found, if user is equal none, then we're going to redirect back to the same form, right? Which is this form. We're going to redirect back to this endpoint to reshow that form with a message that we're going to implement later, right? So here we're just going to return. Return redirect. Registration, and we're just going to paste this one here to avoid mistakes, right? And now we're going to be returning this one with a param. So like param like not found, right? So we're just going to call this one not found. And now, if that is not the case, if the user is found, so what do we do next? We're going to proceed with the process of resetting the password, right? So now for that, we're going to create a new token for the user, right? And save against the username, right? So now we're just going to say password reset token equals, we're going to use the UID. We're going to generate UID random ID, which is UID.random to string, right? So we're going to get this. Then after this here, we're going to we're going to call the user service to save this one with the user into the database. So for that, we're going to have a reference to our password reset service here. We're going to go here to have private password reset token service. So we're going to have this service here, and I think we're going to make this one as we're going to code to interface here. Do we have this? I think we should have this. Where is our password? iPassword. Yeah, we have iPassword reset. Okay, this one here. Right? This one here. And now we're going to, no, this one is, sorry, the lowercase. This was supposed to be interface. Why is it this color? Oh, sorry. It's supposed to be interface. Yeah, it's supposed to be green, right? So let's go back. Yeah, it's supposed to be green because of the interface. So right here, we're going to make this fine as well. Finer. And now, what happened? Could not auto-wire. Don't worry, we're going to here. Where is this one here? Service. What is service? So this one we're going to implement this. So it becomes, so that guy, this one becomes you can have implementer, right? So let's say implement iPassword is a service. And now we're going to make this a bin so that that error can go away, right? So this one is at service. Cool. So now I think this error should go away by now. Yes, because now we have a bin. Cool, it's gone away. Now we have gotten a bin of that to actually inject into this class. So now let's go here and make use of it. So now we're just going to call the password reset dot. So now we're going to create a new password reset token for that user, right? dot create. But we have not gotten this password. I'm sorry, we have not gotten this method in our service. We're going to do that in a moment. Dot create password reset token for user. And here we're just going to take the user. We take the user and the token we just generated, right? So so after that, after we have done that, we're going to build the string that we're actually going to send. That we're going to send the email, right? So now I'm just going to put here send verification email to user, to the user. This is going to be to the user. So this is verification, not verification, right? So this one here, send password reset verification to the user. So right here we're going to actually create this we're going to generate it. We're going to get the URL, that is, we're going to send the email to the user, right, by getting the URL here. So now let's actually get the URL. So just a string URL equals, no, last time, you know, we created a method somewhere to actually we have created this application URL somewhere. So we're going to say demo util. We called that method last time demo util. Is that correct? Util. Oh, is not correct. It should correct demo util. Dot. Wait, let me check. We created this one. Okay, here. Okay, this URL util. Sorry. This is URL util. Correct. Here we go. Dot get application URL. And now what we're just going to do here, we're going to pass in the request here, and then we're going to append this with our API, with the request mapping of the API, right, which is this registration controller here. So now we have the controller. Where is it? So now we have the registration here slash. So this one is going to be registration slash. Let's put it in a double quote. So right now, what we're doing here right now, we actually try to generate the link that we're going to send to the user. So when they click on that link, it's going to bring them back to our application to actually verify the email, right? So here we're going to say slash password. We're going to create this endpoint in a moment. So we're going to say password request reset, password reset form, right? Then now we're going to append this here with the token param. So we're going to say token, and we're going to append it here. We're going to plus it here. Then we have password token, this one here. Now here we're going to assign, because what we're doing here, actually, let's zoom in a little bit so we can actually see this clearly. So what we're doing here actually is we try to generate the URL to the application. So when the user click on when the user click on this form here, which is this form we've created, when the user enters the email, is going to click on this, and the control is going to come here. So this guy here is going to take the email of the user and actually find the user in the database. Use the email. Make a mistake here. Actually find the user using the email. Then that, if the user is not found, is going to redirect that user to this form with a message. We're going to define this message later using this param, right? But if the user is found, we're going to generate a new token for the user and actually save that token against the user in the database. And we're going to create this method in a moment in our, in this very service here. Then when that is done, when the user is saved against the token, when the token is saved against the user, then we're going to send a verification email to the email that the user has entered into that field. So when the user click on that link, then the control is going to come back here, following this URL to actually go to another endpoint that we're going to create in a moment that we actually do the reset password, job, right? So now here I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So here we've created the link. We've generated the link. So here we're going to call the mail sender to actually send the email here, right? So for that, we're going to get a handle. Remember last time we've already created a sender in our listener, right? We have a listener class. What is it? We've created a listener here that is actually doing the sending of the email, right? So now this is the registration verification email. We have the template we have gotten here. So this time around, instead of sending this template, we're going to send another template. So what I did was to just copy this. I copied this one here and paste. And then I changed the name here. You know, everything is the same thing. So we just changed the name. And after that, I changed the subject. So instead of email verification, then we just say password reset request verification, right? So every other thing is the same. Every other thing is just the same, because this one here is this method here, and we've defined everything here already, right? So just copy this one here and paste it here, which is duplicate this, then change the name and change the subject. Then every other thing is the same. So now let's go back here to actually send the email. So for that, we're going to get a reference. We're going to get a hold on that. I think it's here already, right? That one is here. Yes. Okay, it's not here. So we're just going to do here. But I think we're supposed to get it here to send it the email. Okay, we actually send the email from that place. So for this purpose here, we're going to get a reference to that class here. So we're going to say private, what's the name of that listener? Like registration complete event listener, this one here. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to just say event listener. We're going to call this an event listener. And this one is going to be fine as well, because we're going to inject it. We're going to inject it with this annotation, this Lombok annotation. So it must be finer, so that annotation can actually inject it. So now what we're going to do here is just to move to the next line and actually call the event listener.send. So this time around, we're going to say send password verification. And for that, we're just going to pass in the URL we've generated, right? This one here. And now we're going to actually, I'm not going to throw, but I'm going to catch. So let's catch the exception. And for that, we're going to, so let's pipe it here. I'm just going to pipe this and paste it here. And then I'm going to remove this one here. And now we're just going to, what do we do? So maybe tentatively, let's take this message to our form. We might declare a message just to get what is returning from the form later, from this controller later. We might do it. So now, for now, I'm just going to get this model. I'm just going to make it a model attribute, so we can actually get it later. So here we're going to say e.getMessage. e.getMessage. So now what we're just going to do here, if this one is successful, if the email is sent successful, then we're going to return a message to the user, right? We're going to return a message to the user that informing the user that this email has been sent successfully, and we're going to inform them to actually check their email. So now I'm just going to copy this as well. I'm going to copy this one here. Where is it? This request here, because this is where we are going. I think I made here. Okay. Oh, sorry, we have not defined this. So before we forget, before we forget, let's annotate this one here. This one is going to be a post method, right? Post. And this one here, this post method is going to have it's going to have the endpoint as reset password. So we're going to call this here forgot password here. So this one is going to be the endpoint. So when the user click on this, so this one here tallies with, where's the form? This one, you forgot password, so don't forget. So it's going to be slash registration slash forgot password in here. So slash registration slash forgot password. So here we're going to put slash here, /, and this one also we're going to put /. Please don't forget. I'm sorry, I actually forgot this. So we're going to put slash here. And now the next thing we're going to do here is to actually return that form for the user to be aware that a message has been sent to their email, right? So we're just going to say redirect, and this one is going to be registration as well. Registration slash forgot password for this forgot password request, right? Now we're going to return back with success here. A parameter we're going to return, if everything goes well, we're going to return a success parameter, right? And we're going to hook up a message with this one later. Okay, so now what we're just going to do here, well, I'm going to remove this one here. No need to throw this here, but since we are trying to return this to our form, so there's no need of throwing here. So now we're going to define this. We're going to define that in a moment. This one here. Where is it? Where is this form? Here. This is where we are going here, right? So remember, this one is the forgot password request, right? So when the user enter their email and click on verify email, the control is going to come here. So if the email is sent successfully, if everything went successfully, then we're going to return back this form again. We are going to return back this form with a message to notify the user that email has been sent to their email. A message has been sent to their email. So that is why we are using this one here. That's why we are, if you see here, we are returning back this forgot password request. So we are going back to this URL here, / forgot password request, returning back the form again with a message. So that message is the one to tell them that this process has been done, which means we have verified you, we have seen your email is valid, and we have generated a token, a reset password token, and we have sent this email to your email. Please check your email to reset. So when they click on this link here, we're going to define this form here so that when they click on this link from their email, it's going to go back to actually bring this form here, right? So now that is the form we're going to define right now. The next thing we're going to define right now. So let's go here to say public string. So now we're going to call this one here password reset form, right? Password reset form. So this is the main form that is going to have the controls, which is the input controls that the user is going to enter the password, right? And now we're going to have as this form, when they click on it, remember here, this link they are going to click on here is the link. There's a token embedded in this link, and so when they click on this link, when they are coming back here, this token is coming back with the user, right? So right here, because we are trying to get this from here, so we are trying to request that token. We're trying to request that param to actually, because that is a token we're going to use to verify the user and reset the password against the user, right? So now we're going to accept this token here. So for that, we're going to say at request param. We're going to define the request param, and here we have token here. We have string the token, right? And then we're going to have the model here, because we're going to embed the token in our form later. So here we just say the model, and so next here we're going to have a model attribute. So we just say model dot add attribute here, and this one we're going to say token, and here we're going to just get the token we have defined here. Okay, and then we're going to return the page, return the password reset form, right? Password reset form, here. Cool. So now this one here, let's go to our templates. Password, okay, this forgot password form, this is password reset form. So now we're going to annotate this with get, because this one is get mapping, because we are actually trying to get the form, right? So we'll say at get mapping, and this one is going to say here we'll say reset password. Sorry, this one is going to be in a string, in double quotes here. Okay, so this one is in double quote. So now let's reiterate what we've just done here. So here the user click on a link from the login page called forgot password, and that link brought out a form and asked the user to enter their email. So when the user enters their email and click, which is this form here, so when the user enters their email and click on this verify email, so the control is going to go to registration/forgot password, which is this one here, registration/forgot password. So now this forgot password here is going to request the email of the user and use the email of the user to actually get the user from the database. Now, if that user is not present, that which means if the email is not a valid email that is in existence in our database, is going to return this. And with a message to tell the user that this email does not exist in our database, or we cannot find a user with this email. We are going to define this message later in our form, right, in our view. Now, if that is not the case, if the user is found, then we're going to generate a new password, a new UI which is token for the user, and we are going to call our password reset token service to actually save this token. To our database, right? And save this token against the user in our database. Now, if this token is saved successfully, then we're going to generate the link and send the email to the user, which is this one here. So this is the link we are generating here, and now we're actually sending this link to the user with the token we've just generated here. Now, when the user click on that link in their email, it's going to come here. So when they click on that link, that link is going to take them here. It's going to take them here, this place here, which is reset password form. You see, we've made a mistake here. Reset password form. So this one is going to have form here, reset password form here. Right? It's going to be like this, because that is where the control is coming. Now, because we are having this one here is coming with a token. So here we are receiving the token from here by requesting as a param, right? So that's what we just done here. Now, before we move ahead, we're going to create this page. We're going to create this page here in our template, in our controller, in our template directory. So now I'm going to just copy the name of this page and go here to actually create a new page. So now I'm just going to say this and paste it here and just hit enter. So we see that this line has gone away. The line was there because it cannot find a page, it cannot find this view in our directory. But now that it's found the view, so it let us go away. So the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to come here later. We're going to come back here. So before we go back to that view, we're going to actually create the method that is going to actually do the job of resetting the password, right? So this one here is going to show a form. When that form is clicked, then it's going to actually do the work of creating actually resetting the password, right? I think we should just finish that form before we move ahead, right? So let's finish implementing this form before we go to the next method. So now I'm just going to click on this as usual to save our time. I'm going to paste in a form I've created here. Now this one here is just like every other form we've created, right? So here is the bootstrap we'll be using. And like I said, we don't have to be copying. We're not supposed to copy all this one everywhere. We need to put this bootstrap in a dedicated folder in our static directory here, somewhere here. Where is it? In here. Then from there we create a review resolver or static or a resolver that will actually serve all these ones to our application. But for this demo purpose, we're just going to just put them there. All right. And this one here, when this form, you see here we have two control, we have two input fields in this form here, two input field. One is the new password here called the password, and this one is the new password. And the other one is confirmed password here, confirmed password, right? Make sure you set the name to these controls because we're going to make use of the names. So this one is the new password, and this one is another input to confirm password. So now when the user click on this button here, the control is going to come in here. So this is the endpoint we're going to create in just in a moment, right? Now going back here, I've created a little function here, JavaScript function, that will actually verify the confirmed password. So if this confirmed password does not match with the new password, it's going to show this message here: passwords do not match. Or maybe I'm just going to say confirm password. Confirm password. This confirm password does not match. Does not match. Right? Confirm password does not match. Password, what happened? Okay. So now if this is just a validation, right? Just a little JavaScript function to validate these two controls here, right? So now let's actually go here. So if you look here, we are going to take a handle of this param later. I just defined everything. We're going to come back here later to explain what it does, right? And that token that we got, that param we got, we actually put that token in a hidden field here. This token here we received. We received this token as a request param, and we brought this token. We carry this token over into our form here, right? So that is a token we actually put in here. We hide this token here in a hidden field because that is the token we're going to use to track the user that we're going to reset this password for, right? Okay, cool. Now this one is done. I'm going to close down this, and actually now let's actually return back to the controller, which is the researcher controller, to implement that method that is going to actually actually going to reset the password for the user. So for that, I'm going to create another public method here, public string. So right, this time we're going to call this one reset password, and we're going to get the HTTP request, HTTP servlet request, and this one we're going to call request, right here. And now we're going to let me reopen this page. There's something I want us to look at here, right? So now coming back here, we're going to get this token here we embed here. We're going to get this token and the new password. These are the two things we need from this form to actually reset the password for the user. So now we're just going to say string, we're going to get the string variable. So we're going to call this one as token. Token. We have a token here already, so we're going to call this the token, right? So the dot conflict, sorry, the token. So we're going to say request dot get parameter dot get parameter, and this parameter is going to be called token, which is the name of this one here. What is it? This one here. You see the name is token, right? So that is what we're going to do. That is why it's important to set name for your control field, because we're going to take a handle of the name to actually do what we're going to do later, right? So now we're going to grab this, and the next we're going to do here is I'm just going to duplicate this, and now we're going to say password, because we're going to get the new password. We'll call this password. Sorry, this is password. So now we're going to change this to password, which is the second field here. Where is it? This one here, right? That's what we're getting here right now. And now when we get those two fields successfully, we're going to actually we're going to validate the password, because now this token that is coming from the user's email has an expiration time. So now we're going to validate this token if the token is still valid. So for that, we're going to create a method here. Remember, we've not created any method in our service class, right? But we just try to finish we're just going to finish everything about the controller that will move straight to the password reset token service to actually implement all this method we are trying to implement here. So now we're just going to say token verification, that we're going to verify the token verification result. We're going to call this one result. There's the reason for that. So equals password reset token service dot. So we're going to create a method later called validate password reset. This one is reset password reset token. And now we're going to pass in the token here. We're just going to pass in the token. Oh no, this the token. This is called the token, right? The token. And here we're just going to terminate. So we're going to create this method later in our user service, in our password reset token service, right? So now if this user, let's shift enter to move to the next line in IntelliJ. So now we're going to, I think it's better we create this method first so that we know what we are doing, so we understand what we are actually doing, right? So now what I'm just going to do here, we're going to come back here. So now let's actually go to our password reset service to actually create this method so we know what we are doing, so we can understand clearly what we are going to do here, right? So now let me just put my insert point here, and just put it here and create this method in here. Okay. Now let's go to the implementer to actually implement this. So let's just implement this one here for now. So now this method here is going to call validate. It's going to be called validate reset token, right? So for that, we're going to have, let me zoom in a little bit so we can actually see it clearly. So we're going to create an optional method here that we actually find. We're going to actually find this token if this token actually exists in our database again, right? So we say optional password. This password verification token here. Where is it? Password reset token here. Password reset token. So we just say password reset token here equals password reset token repository dot find find by we're going to define a method later that we're going to define by token, find by token, because we're trying to find if this token actually exists in a database, right? Then we're going to make use of it. So we're going to pass in the token here, which is the token here. We're going to pass in, and let me zoom out a little bit so we can see it clearly. So now we get the token and we find this token in our database. So if the token, if this one here, if the token is found, then we're going to, if the token is not found, we're going to return invalid, right? So here we're going to have some conditions here. So if password reset token dot is empty, if this one is empty, then we're going to return a message to the user. So we're going to define all this message later in our template, in our view. So we're just going to return here, we're going to return a string called invalid. We're going to return invalid string. And if that is not the case, then we are going to actually check the time. If the token is found, we're going to check the time if the token has not expired, right? So say calendar equals calendar.get instance, calendar.get instance here. Then now we're going to say if, so now we're going to compare if the token has expired, right? So if password reset token dot get, because it's an optional, so we have to say dot get expiration time. Get expiration time dot get time minus calendar dot get time, which is the current, which is the time which the user click on that token. Get time, then if it is equal or lesser than 0, which means in that case it has expired, right? So now we just return a message to the user. What happened here? What happened? Provide boolean, provide long. Dot get expiration time dot get time. This. Okay. We are missing another stuff here. Okay, cool. So now if the password has expired, we're just going to return a string called expired. So this one we'll call it expired, right? So all this one here, we're going to grab them we're going to make use of them later, right? Now, if that is not the case, then return a valid string. So let's go here and return valid. And so let's call this valid, return valid. So I think this is what we just need here to, this is the password we need, this is the method we need here to validate the token, right? So now let's create this method in our repository. So, okay, so now we have this in our repository and this error's gone away. So now, before we continue, let's go back to our registration controller, this one here, and continue with the process of the process of validation. So now we are going to actually make use of those strings. We're going to make use of this method here. We've implemented this method here. So now we're going to start making use of, let me close this one here. And I think I should close this. I'm not using this. So now we're going to make use of this string set message based on what is returned, right? So now let me just remove this comment. And we're going to be checking for the validation result, right? So now let's say if token validation result dot equal ignore case valid. So what I'm just going to do here, we're going to check for the failure first, right? So if it's not valid, then we should just redirect the user, return redirect. return redirect. This one is supposed to be string. What am I doing? Yeah. Oh my gosh. So let's just return, yeah, redirect. So we're going to redirect the user to a page called error. We're going to create this page later, right? Error, and we're going to have a parameter, a kind of invalid. We're going to call this parameter invalid token. So we're going to grab this parameter later and set a message in this view. We've not created this form, right? Now, if that is not the case, then we're going to take the token and actually extract the user that is attached to that token. So for that, we're going to have another optional method here, optional user. We're going to call this user, right? The user equals user service dot find by password token. This one is not here. This one is going to be password because we're going to implement every method that has to do with password. We're going to implement in the password service, right? So here we say password reset service. This one here dot find by token dot find. We're going to call this one here find user by token. So the reason why we are doing this is that we really want to find the user. We want to see if a valid user is attached to this token in our database, right? So find user by password reset token. Sorry, this is token. Find user by password reset token. And here we're going to pass in the token again. Where is the token? So we say the token. We're going to say the token. Yes, the token. Right. Well, we're going to go back to this one in a moment to create this method. But for now, let's continue implementation. So now, if the user is present, that if the user is found, then we should actually reset the password for the user. Or if it's not found, we're going to return invalid, right? So now we're going to say if the user dot is present, if the user is present, here, oh sorry, not token, if the user dot is present. Now if the user dot is present, then let's actually do the reset of the token. So we just say password reset token service dot reset password. So we're going to create this method in a moment as well. So now we just have the user, which is the user here, and get the password, which is this one here, the password, which is this password we gotten from the form. We're going to actually reset that password for the user, right? So here we're going to terminate. So after that, we're going to redirect. So just return redirect. So return redirect and login. We're going to return to login, and then we're going to inform the user that the password has been changed so that they can log in with the newly changed password. So here we're going to say success, reset success. Sorry, this is EXX success, right? So we're going to terminate. So now what we're doing here is that if the password is reset successfully, then we are going to return the user to the login page with this message here. So we're going to define a message with this param later. Else return another string to the error, return back to that error page. This one is return redirect. Return redirect back to the error. And now we're going to form not found. Oh, sorry, not found. This is not found right here. Okay, so I think this is what we just need to do for this password validation here. This to validate the token. So this one here is going to be a post request as well. So let's actually annotate this with the at post request, right? At post mapping. So now we're going to say this one is reset password here. Okay, reset password. All right, so now we're going to create. Now look at this URL here, this reset password. So if I open up the form, where is that form? The form we created, password reset form, this one here. So if you look here, we have this one here, reset password. We have registration/reset password. So when the user enters their password, the new password, and click on the button here, so it's going to come to this control here, which here. So it's going to come here and actually do all this. Will get the token, get a new password, validate the token with the user, and with the validation result. So we're going to see what we do here. So if the token is valid, if the token has not expired, so we're going to find the user from the token, right? And then we're going to actually reset the password against. We're going to actually return the user we found. We're going to reset that user password here that we'll do here. So if the result, if the reset is successful, then we're going to return back to the login page. This one here with a param. And now we're going to set we're going to set a message with this param in our login page later. Then if this reset is not successful, or that it means if the user is not found or any error, we're just going to return the error page with a message we're going to define here later. So this is the method this is all we need to do here to actually reset the password. So now let's create this in our user service, in our user this one here, yeah, in our user service interface. So what we're just doing here is creating all the method signature here so that all the method will look alike. Will be uniform, right? In case we have another class implemented, this one here, so all the method will have the same name. That is the essence of doing that. So now let's create this one as well, right? What happened? Oh my gosh, this one. Oh my gosh, this one is password here. And no, I'm not going to do this. So let's remove this here. And I'm going to go back here to actually correct this. This one is double S, not double W. Okay, what happened? Okay, this is optional, so we're just going to say .get, right? .get. Okay, so now we are done with this method. So the next one we're going to do here is to actually create this method in our password reset. Let's create this method in there. So here we've gotten this as well. Let's go back here and what is it? This one here. So this one also we're going to create in our. So let's go here. What happened here? There's this service password reset token service. Okay, so we have some method to actually implement from here. So let's go and implement this 3 method here. Okay, so we have the reset, we have this, and we have this, right? So the only one we have, we have implemented here is this one here, is the validation pass, is the method to actually validate the password reset token, right? So now we're going to start implementing these other 3: find the user by the token, reset the password, and actually save the password for the user, right? Which is the token for the user. So now we're just going to go back here and implement all this one by one. So the first thing we're going to do here, we're going to start from actually saving this password, this token to the user, right? This token for the user. So what we're just going to do here is we're going to create a new password reset token, right? So here we're just going to say password reset token. We're going to call this password reset token. We've gotten here. Let's just say reset token. Let's call this one reset token, right? So this one equals. So here we're just going to call the new, so equal new. We're going to create a new instance of this. That's a new. We're going to create a new password reset token for the user that we're going to save the user to the database. We're going to save the password reset token against the user in a database, right? Okay, so for that, we're just going to take the password reset token and we're going to have the user, right? This one here. So then we're going to return the repository dot save, right? This one here. So that's just what we want to do here. But actually you can just return repository and create a new one here and save. But I just want to do it like this, right? Okay, now we are done with this. So let's move to the next. Let's move to actually reset the password for the user. So now we just move here to say the user. Now before we reset the password, we're just going to set the password, user password. So before we're just going to call the user and set the user password here, because this is the user we found back there, right? So we're just going to call the user and reset the password and pass in the new password, right, which is here. So I'm going to change this variable to new password so it will be clear for us here. And now I'm going to just set the old password to the new password, and then we're going to call the user repository to actually save the user back into the database here. Dot save the user again. So we're just going to pass in the user right here. And take note that we don't have the user repository, but it was automatically created for us by IntelliJ here, right? It was created automatically by IntelliJ for us. So that is the user repository we just called that was created for us by IntelliJ. Now I think this is all we need. But now you look at here, if we save this password like this, it's going to be plain password. So now we're going to take a handle. We're going to grab the password encoder to actually encode the password. So here I'm going to say if IntelliJ can create this one for us. Password encoder. Cannot find this. .encode. I'm just trying to see this. .encode. Couldn't find this. Then encode new password, right? Encode new password. So we're actually going to create this. No, not local variable. So let's inject this password encoder into our class, into this class. So I'm just going to say private final password encoder. Okay, password encoder. We're going to call this a password encoder, right here. What happened? Add to constructor. Okay, I don't want this. Okay, IntelliJ has generated constructor for us, but I don't want this. I want to remove all this. We are going to use annotation to make our class neat, right? So let's have at required ag constructor. This one here. So we're actually injecting this by this annotation, so our class will be neat. I don't want that so many classes to be injected in our constructor. Okay, cool. So now we are done with this. So the next one we're going to do here is to actually implement find the user by this token, right? So here we're just going to return the password repository, password reset repository dot find by token dot find by token and if the token is found, then we are going to say we're going to get the user out of the token, right? Get user. So this is what we're going to do here. This one we're going to set in the token here. So if the token is found, we're going to find the user from the token. So this one we're going to make it optional. So let's just wrap it here. Okay, I think now we are going to we're done with this. So the next one we're going to do, I think we are finished. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we are finished implementing these 4 methods. So let's go back to our controller and see that everything is gone right. Okay, I think we're done with our implementation. So are we missing something here? I think this is all we need to do to get our password reset. So now I'm just going to close everything down, and so let's actually run our project. I'm just going to close our tabs. So let's run our project and see what we got to this point so far. So I'm just going to hit on this play button and see what we got. Okay, so now we can see that our application has started running successfully. So let's go to the browser and see what we've got so far. So I'm just going to log into the home page. Sorry, just to open the home page, not actually logging in. And this is our home page here. This is our home page. So let's go here and register a new user. So right here, I'm going to register Rita. So here we have Rita Simpson. And I'm going to have this email here so we can actually verify the email, right? So I'm going to create a password of 123456 and just going to hit on register. So we can see that we have registered successfully and we got the success message, which is the message we actually define in our controller, right? So now let's actually verify our email. So here we see that we've gotten, sorry, oh my gosh, there's too much. I was just trying to zoom in. So here we can see that we've gotten a verification email. And so now we open it up and we see this one here, verify your email to activate your account. So now we're actually going to click on this to verify the email. So here we can see that a valid param is returned, which means the email has been verified successfully. Sorry, I didn't show our database before that, but because we have been working with this database, I think there's no reason of really showing that, right? So here, because of the new password token we just created, we're going to show this here. And now we see that a new table has been created for us called password reset token here, right? And right here, we got nothing here, but I think we got one user in the database, the one we just created, Rita Simpson, and she has been enabled. So that's why it's one, right? But right here, because she has not requested for password reset, now we still have this one here empty. So now let's go back to our browser and actually log in with this email. So here, right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now let's just hit on login, and we actually will redirect to the database. So let's click on what we got in our database, the users. So here we got one reader called Samson, one user called Samson, Rita Simpson. And now let's add another user to actually see. But we are not going to verify this very one we're going to add. So let's add Clifford. So here we have Clifford and we have Delali here. And we're going to have Clifford here. We have Clifford. Okay, cool. Have it. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as the email. As the password. So let's register. So here we have registered successfully this guy here. So let's actually go back to our home page here. Just remove this and go back to our home page. Okay, cool. So here, let's view all the users we have in our database. So now we got 2 users, right? Now let's go back to our home page and actually log out, or maybe I can just log out from here, log out here. Where is log out here? So now I can just log out, and now we have logged out. So now that we have logged out, let's actually try to see our users. So now we cannot see our users because we have logged out. So let's go back to our login page, and this time around we're going to click on forget password. Oh my gosh, we have not added the link here. So for that, we are going to go back to let's go back to our page, login page, and actually we're going to add a link here that the user will click, and actually the page will now show for the user to enter their email, right? So now I have just added a link here. This link I've set up before, so it's just a span and href, and add the path, which is registration/forgot password request, which is the URL we defined a few minutes ago, right? So having done this, let's actually reload our application and see what we got. So okay, our project is started again. So let's go back to the browser and let's refresh. So right now you see here we have gotten the link here, forget password, right? But now because we have lost all our users, because we are testing, so we've lost all our users, because anytime we run our application, the application will recreate our table again. That is the settings we made because of the testing, because of the development, right? We're just testing, right? Here, if you look here, you see that we've set this to auto recreate, right? That is why each time we run our project, our table will recreate. So now that it has recreated, we've not gotten anything in our database. So let's refresh the user. Here we see that our table is empty once again. So let's go back here and register Rita again, Rita Simpson. And let's actually pick this email and 12345 as the password. So let's log in here. Let's register here. Now we have registered, right? So let's go back to this guy here, this email, and verify. So now we got a new email. Let's just click on this and verify our email. So let's click on it. So here we see a valid param was returned, which means this process was successful. So this time around, let's just log in with our password because we've been enabled 12345. So this email and the password. So let's log in. So now we have logged in, and actually we gotten our, here is continue URL, right? So we've gotten all our users. So let's add another user. But this time around, we're not going to verify this user. So let's say Clifford Delali, this guy here, and the email is clifforddelali@gmail.com. So 12345. So let's register and see how many users we've gotten in our database. So here we got the success parameter, which is an email has been sent to that guy's email, right? So now let's get all users. Now we have not gotten a Navbar, so let's just get all users from here. So now we've gotten 2 users, right? So now let's go back to our home page, and actually this time around we're going to log out. So now let's log out. Cool. So now we've logged out, and we see that we have gotten this. So let's try to view our users. So now we cannot view because we have logged out. So this time around, let's pretend that we forgot our password, right? So now this email, this form has come here. So let's enter our email, and a verification email is going to be sent. A verification link is going to be sent to this email here, right? Cool. So now we got the message. We have just sent a verification link to your email. Please check to complete your request. So now let's go here and actually check. Did you receive any email? Oh my gosh. All right. So I have seen the problem. The problem was that, I tried to find out what is happening, but I found out that the email was actually sending from here, right? But I noticed we're not receiving the message in our email. So what I did was that I checked this email here, because this is the email the message has been, this is the image, this is the email I was using here in our application. If we go back here, this is the email I specified, this one here. So this is the email we're using. So the secret of this is that our application is actually sending email on our behalf from using this email, using the email you specify here, right, to the user that registered. So this email in my system was not logged in. I signed out from this email in my system. So that was the reason why. So when I signed in, I found out that all along, all the messages I've been sending is actually sending. So I went here to actually check my email, right? So I went to send messages and I find out that all the ones we'll be doing, the email is actually sending, but just that because we are not logged in here, this guy is not receiving. He's not receiving the email, right? So it was when I logged in here and opened this one and found out that this what was happening. So after that, I opened here and I was able to send and verify, right? So now let's go back to our application and test again. So quickly, let's go back here, and what I'm just gonna do right now, this guy's email here, I'm going to delete this here. I'm going to delete all the verification we have received. I'm going to clear it off so we have a fresh one, right? So I'm just going to open this down. So let's go back to our application and actually run our project again and see if we can verify at this time, right? So now I'm going to run the application and see what we got. So let's go back to the browser. And right here, we're going to navigate to the home page. So here is our home page of our application. So let's log in here. But before we log in, let's try to go back to our browser. So here we have a user, right? And now let's refresh this user. Okay, the user is valid. So let's take note of our user password. So we can see that our user's password is starting with KYS, right? So let's go back to the browser and actually reset this password. So let's log in here. So now I'm going to say I forgot my password, and we're going to enter our email here and verify the email. Now we got the success param, which means a verification link has been sent to our email. So let's go back there. So here we see that a password reset request has been sent to our email. Congratulations. Now let's go there. Let's reset the password. So now we've gotten a form that says we should reset our password, right? So remember that our old password was 123456. I forgot this password. I forgot the password. So let's go back. Let me go back here and let's make sure we. Okay, I want to go back here and actually log in so that I can know we can verify the password that we entered last time. So here, let's log in. I think it's like something. Okay, here, 1 2 3 4 5 6. Is it 1 2 3 4 5 6? This invalid. Again, let's go. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, cool. So our old password was 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, right? So here we have logged in and we can actually view the users, right? So now let's go back here and say, because we've not gotten a navbar, so that's why we always go through the URL, right? So now let's go back here to log out. So now I want to log out, right? I've logged out this user. So now let's go back here again and log in. And this time we're going to forget our password. So here I forgot my password. And now I enter my email for verification. So here we got a success param and a request link, a verification link has been sent to our email. So now let's go here and see that we gotten a new verification link. Congratulations once more. And this one was this one has expired already, so this one was sent less than a minute ago. So now let's quickly do this. And now remember that our old password was 1234567 So now we're going to say 123456 as the new password and 12345 as verification. So here we see that confirmation does not match. And remember that this was the validation we made here with JavaScript, right? So this was the validation we made here with the JavaScript that is working here right now. So now let's make it 6 here and reset it. So here we got the success param again, which means our password has been reset successfully. So now let's log in with the old password 12345678 here. And now we're going to see that we're unable to log in with the old password because we have reset to new password. So let's say 123456, which is the new password we just reset. And now we are able to log in. Good job. So now let's view users one more time. So now we are able to view the user. So now this is the goal of this demo. Now the last thing we're going to do before we round up, we are going to actually implement this edit and delete so that it can be working. And next we're going to see how we can include the navbar to all our pages so that we can have easy access to navigate through our application. Okay, so let's get this done.